Hey guys, good to be with you today. Mark chapter 1 begins with a quote from Isaiah. It reads, it is written in Isaiah the prophet, I will send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way. A voice of one calling in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight paths for him. This is what John the Baptist set out to do to prepare the way of the Lord. Now, when Jesus arrives, his ministry goes beyond John the Baptist, but in a sense, his job as the Messiah is still to make the way of the Lord known to Israel. Just like Moses led the people of Israel out of physical captivity in Egypt, making a way through the Red Sea and the desert on their way to the Promised Land, Jesus is going to lead the people of Israel out of their spiritual captivity, which had begun when the nation was led into captivity in Babylon. Now, of course, by the time of Jesus, the people were physically free from Babylon, but on a spiritual level, they recognized that they still really weren't out of exile. Now, throughout the book of Mark, we see the term the way used frequently, especially in the section we're about to study, and I want you to notice the significance of it. You see, before Christians were known as Christians, they were first called by that name in Antioch in Acts 11, verse 26. We're told in Acts 9:2 that initially they were known as followers of the way. Beginning with this passage in Mark chapter 8, all the way until the end of Mark chapter 10, Jesus teaches his disciples about what it means to follow in the way of the Lord. As they journey on their way to Jerusalem and the events that will transpire during Holy Week, Jesus teaches his disciples about the nature of his calling and mission, which we know they will continue to move forward in the book of Acts. Now, of all the places Jesus could have gone to begin his journey towards his triumphal entry into Jerusalem in Mark 11, it is sort of amazing that he chooses Caesarea Philippi. Bible scholar Ray Vander Laan points out that given the city was the religious center for the Greek god Pan, and that Caesarea Philippi had a terrible reputation for idolatry and sexual debauchery, it seems likely that Jesus had to have had a very specific reason in mind for taking his disciples to this city. This is not a place they would have normally gone. Ray teaches that pagans in Jesus' day believed that water symbolized the abyss, and that caves were considered to be a door to the underworld. Now, because Caesarea Philippi stood near a cave with spring water flowing from it, the pagans thought of this spot at Caesarea Philippi as being a gate to the underworld. They literally believed the city was the gate of hell. With this information in the background, I want you to think about this passage here in Mark 8. When Jesus asks his disciples who the people say that he is, he says, "You are the Messiah." And at this point, I want to switch over to a parallel passage, the one that we're looking at in Mark 8, 27 through 30, to see Jesus' response to Peter. In Matthew 16, verses 17 and 18, we read, Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not overcome it." Now, I recognize that there is some controversy about whether Jesus meant that he would build his church on Peter's confession that Jesus was the Messiah, or he was actually talking about building his church on Peter. I think it was the former. Catholics believe it was the latter. But regardless, here's what I want you to notice. Given where they were standing in Caesarea Philippi, I want you to focus on the significance that Jesus' disciples would have attached to Jesus' words about the gates of hell not overcoming his church. As Jesus teaches about what it means to follow the way of the Lord, he isn't asking us to hide from the evil and the immorality that's all around us. He's telling us, as followers of the way, we are to go on the offensive, to fight against evil and injustice, and to build the church in places that are most synonymous with wickedness and depravity. I love how Ray phrases this idea when Jesus journeys to Caesarea Philippi. He is giving us a clear challenge. He doesn't want his followers hiding from evil. He wants his followers to storm the gates of hell. Now, this is a big challenge, and even though it is sometimes daunting, I believe Ray's analysis is exactly right. We aren't supposed to be hiding from evil. We're supposed to storm the gates of hell. Wherever Jesus goes, we must follow. After all, he is the way, the truth, and the life. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.